If people did not read quietly alone, but instead shared their stories out loud in public, learning by listening and repeating what others said, we would see a world closer to that of the ancient past. In ancient Athens, people met in public spaces to argue, tell stories, and pass on knowledge, all with their voices. Back then, learning was about memory, listening, and speech, not about books or silent reading. But everything changed when the alphabet was invented, around the 8th century before Christ, and later when the printing press around the year 1440 made books easy to get. These changes did more than just help information spread, they actually changed the way our brains work. Scientists now say that deep reading helps our minds grow stronger. It builds new pathways in the brain, helps us focus, and lets us handle complex ideas. But even the Greeks thought that reading deeply could be more distracting than public debate. As discussed in Plato's Phaedrus, Socrates and Plato both thought that writing would make people forget things more easily. But even these geniuses could not have guessed just how much reading would change the way people think. Now think about today. Our phones and computers split our attention, and social media encourages us to scroll quickly, watch silly things, and never settle on one thought. This is pushing us back towards something more like the old oral culture: quick reactions, strong feelings, and sharing things in the moment, instead of careful thinking or private study. Things like memes and viral videos move fast and focus on how things look and feel, not on slow, careful arguments. What happens when we live like this? Studies show that people are starting to lose patience for slow thinking and complicated ideas. Our working memory has shrunk, so we want answers right away. This is not just a change in culture, it is a change in how the human brain works. And we can already see it happening not just in private life, but in public debates and politics across both village and city life alike. The effects go further than attention span. When deep reading fades, our ability to see different sides of an argument, to hold two opposing ideas at once, and to wait for meaning to emerge, all grow weaker. Fast, surface-level information can make us feel informed, but it does not give us wisdom. We risk trading thoughtful understanding for quick reactions. If this continues, we may find ourselves with fewer people able to lead long discussions, weigh careful evidence, or imagine new solutions to old problems. The habits that deep reading builds are not just old-fashioned. They are what allows societies to solve problems together, stay open to new ideas, and remain free from the sway of easy answers. Brain scans show that people who read deeply and often use parts of the brain linked to empathy, imagination, and clear thinking. People who rarely read do not build up these same skills. In places where few people can read, it is not just science that struggles. People in those societies often have trouble accepting new ideas or challenging old beliefs. When most learning is spoken and not written down, tradition becomes law and real debate dries up. The act of writing and reading lets people step outside themselves, question what they believe, and picture a world that could be different. In this way, reading is not just a way to store facts, it is a tool for seeing ourselves and our world with new eyes. Now, as our lives fill up with quick messages, videos, and endless updates, this way of thinking is at risk. Social media and digital platforms reward fast reactions, not slow thought. Complex ideas get chopped up into short posts, and public talk becomes more about quick feelings and about careful reasoning. We used to move from spoken stories to long, thoughtful books. Now we risk sliding back to something even shorter than speech, just images, emojis, and short bursts of words. This is not just looking back with fondness, we can measure what is lost. People find it harder to pay attention, to wait before reacting, and to follow long chains of thought. The problem is not that people will stop reading altogether, but that we might lose what only deep reading can give us: the ability to reflect, to ask hard questions, and to imagine a better future. Societies that protect these habits, that keep making space for long, thoughtful reading, will have the tools to solve real problems, even as the noise around them grows louder. In the Renaissance, printing did more than just fill shelves with books. They changed how people thought. Reading book after book made people develop patience and taught them how to connect ideas and see both sides of an argument. Thinkers like Erasmus and Montaigne showed what was possible when people read deeply. They questioned themselves, looked at the world through others' eyes, and challenged their own societies. Books became a way for people to shape their own beliefs, which later fed into movements that changed whole nations. In places where writing never became common, things were different. Knowledge passed from person to person through songs, stories, and public memory. People remembered huge amounts, but thinking stayed close to tradition. There was real talent, like the griots in West Africa or the Norse poets, but their art was shaped by what could be remembered and retold, not by what could be explored in depth. Most ideas did not get the chance to grow or change, and doubt was often seen as trouble. Because memory ruled, new ideas came slowly. There's a real biological reason for this. Deep reading, especially when the material is challenging, lights up the brain's front barriers, forcing us to block out distractions, tie together distant ideas, and think through problems. By contrast, people who have not built these reading habits or who are used to digital feeds get very good at skimming and sorting for what's new, reacting quickly, and moving on. That helps in a world of constant alerts, but it means we get used to shallow thinking, and our ability for deep thought weakens. This shift affects more than just individuals. Societies that read build laws, science, and the ability to imagine what if things were different. Oral and now digital-first cultures lean more toward group stories and myths sticking with the crowd. When information is always shifting, facts seem to matter less, and arguments get lost in the noise. It gets harder to tell real debate from simple persuasion. We already see these changes in schools. Many teachers now notice that students have little patience for long readings and do not want to tackle through texts without being pushed. Kids used to TikTok or fast media struggle to finish a single story, let alone break down what it means. Before, the job was to make learning exciting. Now, teachers must fight just to keep students' attention on one thing at a time. When knowledge is not kept in books but floats in quick posts and chats, society's memory weakens. What people knew yesterday is quickly lost in today's noise. Lessons from philosophy, history, or law, yet harder to teach when everyone has a different set of facts and nobody remembers what came before. Shared understanding breaks down. This is not just a school problem. Democracies only work if citizens can spot nuance, weigh facts, and say things from more than one angle. Deep reading teaches these skills. When it fades, it is easier for bad actors to sway people with showy speeches or empty promises. History shows that when societies forget the value of readings, they become more vulnerable to censorship, empty slogans, and even the loss of freedom. But it is not all bad news. The internet, despite its distractions, has also made it easier for more people to find and share ideas. Now, anyone can join a digital book club, read great works online, or talk with people far away about philosophy and politics. The challenge is to use this technology for careful thinking, not just quick reactions. Some people and groups are meeting this challenge. New online spaces for long essays, thoughtful debates, and serious discussion are growing. Neuroscientists say that the brain can still build and rebuild the habits of deep reading, even for those raised on screens. The goal is to make deep reading normal again, not rare. In the end, the habits we choose will decide our future. If we let reading fade, society risks being led by rumors and quick tales. But if we protect the time and space for reading and reflection, we keep the tools needed for wisdom, empathy, and real progress. This choice matters, not just for schools or book lovers, but for everyone who cares about a free and healthy society. The story of human progress is tied to the story of reading. Deep literacy is not just a school skill, it is the root of freedom, creativity, and change. As digital distractions pull us in new directions, we face a choice: give in to endless noise or fight to keep reading alive. The societies that do the hard work of reading and thinking for themselves will be the ones that grow, adapt, and stay free.